Alright, Shalom.
Shalom.
First and foremost, we like to begin this lesson by giving all glory, all honor, and all praises unto Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahushai, Ba'ashem Ruach HaKodesh, giving double honors, double unto the apostles and elders of great millstone who surely do rule well. And as always, we like to say Shalom unto the elect.
Shalom to you.
Like a couple of brothers said, gathered together from the glories of Yahushai, and brother
Hanana.
and the brother Mashallah. We wanted to go into today a topic based off of a pamphlet that would have been given to me by my mother, right? And you're gonna see the pamphlet for the thumbnail of this video, and on the pamphlet is one of them Jehovah Witness Bible kind of flicks now. So they're passing down in town or wherever, any busy street, any busy place in the earth, and these witnesses are coming to pest you. Hey, take this, take
front
that,
of your house.
in front of your house, and they're always trying to hand you something. So I'll take your children at home. And the topic for this lesson is based off of the writings on that pamphlet, at least the cover of it. Are you going to heaven? And they put it in a question format of obviously that I had a own precepts written in the pamphlet. I'm sorry, I don't have the pamphlet on me right now. You remember why I put that shit? To read what it is they had written inside it. But we have the answer to that question, you know, are you going to heaven? Because the answer to that question, I like to pose in the form of another question. Where else can you go? Right? Because you know when them say, are you going to heaven? Them speaking of the afterlife, right, after you die. Where else can you go after you die? Because the scriptures clearly details this. We know where we go when we die, right? The one thing I like us to establish first is that it's not hell, right? Obviously they're asking the question, are you going to heaven? Because they believe there's a place called hell where you can go to after you die. But we know that that is not real, right? If you could give me Genesis chapter 2, and we're going to read from verse 1, showing you that there is no place called hell that was created. That's not biblical, that's not biblical. It's been made up, right? Go ahead.
This is Genesis chapter 2 and verse 1. Thus the heavens and the earth were finished, and all the hosts of them.
Right, thus the heavens and the earth were finished, and all the hosts of them. Finito. That is it right there. There is no other place in existence that we are aware of. Caveat to that, I wish I said, in my father's mansions are many mansions. Yeah, so we know in this vast galaxy of what and universe of whatever the Most High created, there are other habitable places. Yes, but we're talking about what's been detailed and what we know for a fact and for a certainty through scripture. What the Lord said He created for us was the heavens and the earth. Heavens, you know, when you go into that word heavens and the biblical understanding of it, there's many levels to the heavens, right? You could think about the sky, that is a heaven. You could think about literal afterlife, that is a heaven, you know, the dwelling place of the Most High. You could even think to the position in which you are in the earth. You could say you are in a heavenly position, right? The brother Azra, you know, he always loves to bring that out, even with a video on it. If I could find that video, I'll post it in the comments, you know, where he would have explained the 5 levels of heaven.
There's the sky or the firmament,
right?
Then is what they call the Van Allen's belt, which is really just the second firmament, the barrier between the earth and the waters from outside. Then is the waters from outside, the what you call it, the state in which you're in.
Right, so like the king, basically the kingdom, right, having the king, the authority,
and the nation of Israel,
right,
because them gonna end up being heaven on the earth as the Lord.
The kingdom of heaven is in
you. Exactly.
Right, so we understand.
And so when I say the barrier or the waters outside, I should say with the Father dwelling.
Right, so yeah, that is the Shemayim, where the Father is dwelling, which we're gonna get into that. That is the heavens we wanna focus on, because that is the heavens I'm talking about when they say, are you going to heaven? Right, again, where else can you go? If you give me verse 2.
Genesis 1:2. On the 7th day power ended his work which he had made, And he rested on the seventh day from all his work which he had made.
Verse 3.
And power blessed the seventh day and sanctified it.
Clear the total in CSB as I read anyway.
Because that in it he had rested from all his work which power created and made.
First verse finished. The heavens and the earth were finished. Second verse, and on the seventh day, power ended his work which he had made. And on the third verse, right, he had rested from all his work which power created and made. Those three words in those three verses, finished, ended, rested, shows what? There was nothing after that. Right? Everything that you see before you here is the totality of what we have. Right? Maybe it's not to the extent that we should have it, because we're not dwelling in we heaven right now, and the earth has gone to shit due to the people that currently inhabit the earth and currently are the landlords of the earth. The earth is defiled under the inhabitants thereof, right? Second Ezra 15 verse I believe it's 2:5, 6, for wickedness had exceedingly polluted the earth and their hurtful words are fulfilled. So we understand currently we don't have the full, we ain't fully enjoying what it is the Most High make here, right? This is not the full extent of the creation in through which you can experience it. And to experience any full creation currently because Esau is also. But understanding that, the point is here, there was no other place created. So, when you ask the question, are you going to heaven? The automatic follow-up as you as a prophet of Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai should be able to hit these people immediately is, where else can you go?
So
Right?
I just want to make a point there. My mistake. The third heavens, or the three heavens, what people know is the firmament which the Lord used to divide the waters from the waters.
Which is the sky. You call the firmament heaven, right? And put the sun and the moon and the stars in the midst of the firmament.
Right, is the waters beyond, which is what people will call space, which is not actually space, but what people will call space. That is the second heavens. And the third heavens, my apologies, is the spirit realm, where the Father dwells. The Father dwells in the spirit realm.
Exactly. And we're gonna get, right? Because now we understand there's no other place that you can go. So where do you actually go? Right? Because again, are you going to heaven? They have to be speaking about after you die. Well, where do we know you go when you die? If you could give me Ecclesiastes 1 from verse 9, Baba Kasha. Well,
Is Ecclesiastes 1 and 9. The thing that had been is that which shall be, and that which is done is that which shall be done, and there is no new thing under the sun.
No new place under the sun. What we just read in Genesis chapter 2 shows you what? Again, there was nothing created after everything that was created. The thing which was is the thing which is and which shall be. There's no new place under the sun, right? So the whole Satan getting kicked out of heaven and then being banished to hell, well, he would have had to have created hell to first send Satan there. And if we see that there is no hell created, we know he didn't make it after. Ecclesiastes 1 and 9 telling me, right? He didn't make nothing after he made everything. That good?
Verse 10, is there anything whereof it may be said, see, this is new?
Right?
It had been already of old time, which was before us.
Right, good.
There's no remembrance of former things, neither shall there be any remembrance of things that are to come with those that shall come after.
Right, now if you could go to Ecclesiastes chapter 3 and read verse, you could read from verse 19.
Ecclesiastes 3 and 19, for that which befalleth the sons of men befalleth beasts, even one thing befalleth them, as the one dieth, so dieth the other.
Which is the same fate of every living and existing thing in the earth today. It has a shelf life or a lifespan, as I could loosely put it. All of us are going to die one day, right?
So, yeah, the scripture now said that in Job, I think it's Job 11:4, seeing that the number of thy days are with thee.
Right, and he appointed bounds which thou cannot pass, which was showing you the mortality of man, right? All of us suffer the fate of death. Psalms 82 verse 6, right? I have said ye are gods, but ye shall die like men.
Verse
right?
7.
Verse 7, right? So what? for that which befall it. I read this in CSB. In fact, finish the verse and I'll read it in CSB.
One died, so died the other. They have all one breath, so that man had no preeminence above a beast.
So that a man,
So that a man had no preeminence over a beast, for all his vanity.
reading Ecclesiastes
That's
3:19.
not read verse 20.
No, well, it's 20 and 21 I really wanted to go to, but I just wanted to read this verse 19 to get a prelude into it, which is what this speaking of death, right? Ecclesiastes 3:19 in CSB. For the fate of the children of Adam, right, because everybody came from Adam, and the fate of animals is the same as one, right? So again, for the fate of the children of Adam is the fate of, and the fate of animals is the same. As one dies, so dies the other. They all have the same breath, spirit, like Father spirits. Everything living in you would have a spirit behind it. The spirit came from the Father. You're gonna get our precept. People have no advantage over animals since everything is futile, right? Go ahead.
Verse 20. All go unto one place, all are of the dust, and all turn to dust again.
Right, verse 21.
Nor the spirit of man that goeth upward, and the spirit of beast that goeth downward to the earth.
Exactly, and I just said all go into one place. Well, the one place is the same two places that the Most High created, right? There's one place for your spirit to go and one place for your body to go. Back into the belly of the earth, dealing with your body, right? You're going to be buried, you're going to decay in the earth, right? And the spirit goes where? It goes back to the Father, right? All go into one place, all of the dust again, and all turn to dust again. Who know it the spirit of man that goeth upward, right? So there is no hell, right? Upward, you're only going up, which is where the Father dwells, right? If you could give me this precept now, John chapter 5 and verse 22, because we're gonna highlight something here. What? Not just are you going to heaven? We're not just dealing with the where. We also have a why. What happened, or even a why slash a what? Why you're going to heaven, or what happens after you go there, right? There's only one place you could go. Give me it.
John 5 and 22. For the Father judgeth no man, but had committed all judgment unto the Son.
Right, the Father judgeth no man. He has given the power of judgment unto the Son for him to cast judgment. But where does this place exist? Where is this place where you are going to receive your judgment from the Son? Right? Why do you die? You die to then receive judgment from Yahweh Shai. If you give me
This one is verse 27.
verses
John 5 and 27. I had given him authority to execute judgment also, because he is the Son of Man.
CSB, right? And he has granted him the right to pass judgment because he is the Son of Man, right? We're going to 2 Corinthians 5 and 10. This is clearly explained. Paul tells you this, right?
2 Corinthians 5 and 10. For we must all appear before the judgment seat of our Mashiach.
Which, and this is the question again, where is that? Go ahead.
And we know that would have to be in heaven, because
You're gonna get it.
again,
You're gonna get it. We're telling you where it is. We're gonna tell you exactly where this place is. Go ahead.
and everyone may receive things done in his body, so that receive the things done in his body according to that he had done, whether it be good or bad.
If you could, sorry, I read it down verse 10 in the CSB. For we must all appear before the judgment seat of Mashiach, so that each may be repaid for what he has done in the body, whether good or evil. Right? Now, if you could give me Ecclesiastes 12 and verse 7, we're going to have a clue to where this place is. Right?
Is Ecclesiastes chapter 12 and verse 7.
Right?
Then shall the dust return to the earth as it was.
Right, the same thing we read in Ecclesiastes 3. Right? All are of the dust, and all go it back to the dust again. Right? Go ahead.
And the spirit shall return unto power who gave it.
And the spirit shall return unto power who gave it. Scriptures make mention of him as being what? The Father of spirit. So what? Your soul your spirit, because the soul is your body, your spirit is going straight back to Yahweh. Where is he? If you could give me Psalms 103 and verse 22.
The book of Psalms, chapter 103, verse 22. Praise Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahushai, all his works, and all the places of his dominion. Blessed be Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahushai, O my soul.
Right, you know, me says, be blessed Yahweh, all his works, and all the places where he rules. Now we know that is everywhere. But if we had to pinpoint one specific place, could that not be the heavens? Yes, it is. If you give me Matthew 6 and verse 9.
The book of Matthew,
Heaven is his throne, and the earth is his footstool. Go ahead.
and Matthew 6 and 9. But thou when thou praise, Salah. 6 and 9. After this manner, therefore pray ye, our Father, which art in heaven, hallowed be thy name.
Which just gave you the place where the Father dwells. Where? In heaven. In the afterlife. Right? In the spiritual realm. That is where the Most High exists. Right? Now we know he exists in and out of that. He's the Most High. But that's the place where you're gonna find him. Right?
Job 25 and 2.
If we could bring now one time. That was the next precept I had there.
The book of Job, Job chapter 25 and verse 2. Dominion and fear with him.
Dominion and fear with him, right?
He maketh peace in his high places.
Right, go ahead. Read 9 NIV.
Dominion and awe belong to power. He established order in the heights of heaven.
In the heights of heaven, where the Most High currently exists, or currently dwells, right? Because he exists everywhere. Where the Most High currently dwells is where he's in the heights of heaven. He is where your soul is going. Sorry, your spirit is going.
So like our next precept, quick to add to prove that the Father dwells in the heaven, the third heaven specifically.
Which, so like I just at that point there, Matthew 6. From that time, that verse you was reading, I guess you call that the chapter of Matthew, right? That was a sermon from Yahweh Shai, right? Yahweh Shai is telling you where the Father is. Go ahead.
It's 1 Corinthians, I think is that one. No. See if it's 2 Corinthians is that one. Nope. What? 2 Corinthians 12. Come on, right?
Yeah, go ahead.
It's 2 Corinthians 12, and I read 1. It is not expedient for me doubtlessly to glory. I will come doubtless to what? To glory. I will come.
Right. Oh. Go ahead.
So like carefully noise I might hear in the background. Anyway, 2 Corinthians 12 and 1. It is not expedient for me to doubtless glory. For me doubtless to glory. I will come to the visions, like I will come to visions and revelations of Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai. I knew a man in a Mashiach about 14 years ago. Whether in the body I cannot tell, or whether out of the body I cannot tell. How I know it, such an one caught up to the third heaven. And that is the heaven they're talking about with the Father dwelling. This is the third heaven.
Which what we're gonna get out real quick now if you read.
So I keep reading.
Yeah.
I knew such a man, whether in the body or out of the body I cannot tell, how I know it. How that he was caught up into paradise and heard unspeakable words which it is not lawful for man to utter. And next reason we know this will be referring to with the Father dwelling. Can you say what? Peace and fear. Fear and dominion.
Fear and dominion, and he make
peace in his high places. There's peace there continually. That's
a paradise, right? That a result of dwelling in paradise would be what? You are in peace.
Yeah, I just wanted to go into the word paradise real quick. 2 Corinthians 12 and 4. 3.
That's 4.
4 is G3857 Paradios. It's like
Paradisos.
Paradisos. 2, definition 2, a garden, pleasure ground, grove, park. Let's see.
Verse 3. Sorry, definition 3.
Definition 3,
And 4, I guess it could be.
the part of Hades, which was taught by the later Jews to be the abode of souls of pious until the resurrection.
Of the souls of pious.
So like of the souls of pious until the resurrection. But
Think,
some
really people are saying the word purgatory,
Yeah.
right?
but some understand this to be the heavenly
To
paradise.
be a heavenly paradise, which Job 3 gonna tell you about this. Go ahead.
For the upper regions of the heavens, according to the early church fathers, a paradise in which our first parents dwelt before the fall existed, which is
Still
not
exists.
before the fall exists, which that is not what it is. Neither on earth or in heaven like garbage, but above and beyond the world like garbage as well. It's definition
Verse
5,
5,
heaven.
right? So
Let's
what?
see the thing Strong's, right?
Right. So what the paradise Paul is speaking about heaven. Paul died and went to heaven and came back.
Back.
He even said that with some of the things he saw there would be unlawful for him to speak of. Right. So now if I could give me Revelation 12 and 5, because remember the Father is not giving you your judgment in the heavens anymore. He gave that unto the Son, right? And it says what? They're going to go to the Father. But is not the Son where the Father dwells? Right? Again, you must all appear before the judgment seat of Mashiach, right? But where is Mashiach? If you give me Revelation 12 and 5.
Revelation 12 and 5, and she brought forth a man-child, was to rule all nations with a rod of iron.
Right.
And the child was caught up unto Yahweh.
Which this man child is speaking of Yahweh, Psalms 2, Revelation 2, even Matthew, I believe
Matthew
it's
2 as well, Matthew 2 and
Matthew 2 as well, but the one where he says all power and judgment authority is been given unto me in heaven and in earth. Matthew 19:28, I believe. No, not 19:28. I think it's 28:19. Scroll. Yes. Matthew 28 verse 18.
Yeah, you put them Matthew 28 and 18. And Yahushua came and spake unto them, saying, all power is given unto me in heaven and in earth.
So what heaven, he could give you a judge. He does. He could. It was given unto him to give you a judgment which you're going to live out again. If you believe reincarnation, if you could receive that, right, you're going to live out again in your next life. You're going to receive that in the heavens. And when he returns here on the earth, he's going to be casting judgments in the earth on behalf of the Father. Again, he was the man ordained by the Most High, Acts 17, to the one, even Isaiah 59, he saw that there was no man and wondered that there was no intercessor. Therefore, his right arm had brought salvation unto him. Right? So the power, all power in heaven and in earth, Yahweh Shai literally lives that. He is that. He was given that power. He is that power. But if you give because we now read Revelation 12 verse 5, he was caught up unto power unto his throne. Right? Where is Yahweh? Yahweh is in the heavens. Obviously, Yahweh Shai is in the heavens if he's caught up unto power. Again, 2 Corinthians 5 verse 10. Right? They must appear before the seat of Mashiach. Right? You can even think this one, Stephen, when Stephen was being stoned unto death, he was not even feeling the pain or was even aware of what was going on around him while he was here on the earth in his last moments. Why? Because he was seeing Yahweh Shai. He was steadfastly focused on Yahweh Shai. And what did he make the exclamation about? He saw what? The Son of Man sitting on the right hand of power in the heavens. Even Acts, does Acts 1 give you that account as well? Let me see.
I think Acts 1 tell you he was caught up, but I don't think they get the account.
What? And when he had spoken these things, while they beheld, he was taken up, and well, I guess right, he was taken up, and a cloud received him out of their sight. Where did that cloud go?
Daniel, the 7, I think it's in 9th chapter. I tell you,
7.
Sorry, 7. I think 7th chapter. Daniel 7 and
Son of Man presented. This is the Daniel 7 and verse 13. I saw in the night visions, and behold, one like the Son of Man came with the clouds of heaven, and came to the Ancient of Days,
which is Yahweh, ancient going to before, and days going to time. So the one was before time.
right? And they brought him near before him, and there was given him dominion and glory and a kingdom, power, that all people, nations, and languages should serve him. His dominion is an everlasting dominion, which shall not pass away, and his kingdom that which shall not be destroyed.
So this was our type of vision which Daniel saw. It was fulfilled in the book of Acts, in the book of John, in the book of Mark. As it said in the book of Mark,
Right?
chapter 16 and verse 19. So then after the Lord had spoken unto them, he was received up into heaven and sat on the right hand of power.
Right,
So
it's
what
guided.
Daniel see the vision before it took place.
Right? Right, and it showed him what and he sat where? So read
Right.
that real quick.
He sat on the right hand of power.
And again,
Yahweh.
where is power? Our Father who art
That's
in
in
heaven, hallowed be thy name. Right, Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh. Shall I know if you could give me the book of Hebrews chapter 1?
Look at Hebrews chapter 1.
And you could read verse 3 is the point right there.
Hebrews 1 and 3. Who being the brightness of his glory. Are you from 2? No,
Yeah.
we talking about Hebrews 1 and 2. Having these last days spoken unto us by his Son, whom he had appointed heir of all
Which
things.
you just saw that in the Daniel 30, the power, kingdom, glory, dominion, that all nations, peoples, tongues should obey and serve him. Right, God?
By whom also he made the worlds.
Right?
He being the brightness of his glory. Who being the brightness of his glory and the express image of his person, and upholding all the things by the word of his power, when he had by himself purged our sins,
Right, Yahweh Shai.
sat down on the right hand of
The majesty on
on
high. So what? He is in the heavens. Where do you go when you die? You go to receive a judgment from Yahweh Shai. Right? You go back to the man who gave you a spirit. Let me get out real quick. I say we was going to before we get our last piece of Father of spirits.
Like James 1.
Hebrews 12.
Hebrews 12.
Father, rather be in subjection. Right?
Yeah.
The Hebrews 12 and 9. Furthermore, we have had fathers of our flesh, right? Your literal earthly father, who seed bag you come from, which corrected us, right? Because it's your father job, a holy work given to him by the Most High. He has authority to chasten the earth, right? Which corrected us, and we gave them reverence, right? We respected the Father. Shall we not much rather be in subjection, right? Be put under the rule unto the Father of spirits and live. Who is the Father of spirits? Well, we just told you Ecclesiastes 12 and 7. Your spirit going back to the Father who gave it. Right? All spirits come from the Father of spirits. He is the Spirit. Right? So understanding that, you're going to receive a judgment from Yahweh Shai. Right? You're also going back to the Father who gave you a spirit. And Yahweh Shai is with the Father who gave you a spirit. He's seated at the right hand of the Father. And what Matthew 6 tells you, what? Our Father who art in heaven. Make peace in his high places, fear and dominion are with him. Right? So the Father is clearly in heaven, and you go into the Father and to Yahweh Shai. Then you die. So the answer, are you going to heaven? Yes. Where else can you go? You could go nowhere else. I'm going to have this one here to close. Job described this place. Again, Paul called it a paradise. Well, Job told you that same thing. Job chapter 3.
This is Job 3, and I read
From verse 1, I believe it is.
No. Job 3 and 13, see.
Yeah, it's Job 3 and from you could read from 13.
Job 3 and 13, for now shall I have
Salak, yeah, not to cut you off. I just want to see. Let's get it in the NLT. Right, yeah. So go ahead, read from verse 13, and then we're gonna, when we don't read down, we can read from verse 13 in the NLT and see what it says.
Job 3 and 13, for now I should have lain still and been quiet. I should have slept, then I had been at rest.
Then had I been
So
at rest.
then had I been at rest.
Right?
With kings and counselors of the earth, which built desolate places for themselves, or with princes that had gold, who filled their houses with silver.
Yeah.
Or as a hidden untimely birth had I not been, as an infant which never
Sorry,
saw
not
light.
had I not been.
So-
I had not been.
I had not been. Job 3:16 from top, or as an hidden untimely birth I had not been, as infants which never saw light.
Right?
There the wicked cease from troubling, and there the weary be at rest.
The paradise. Right?
Mhm. There the prisoners rest together, they hear not the voice of the oppressor. The small and great are there, and the servant is free from his master.
Good.
Wherefore is light given to him that is in misery, and life unto the bitter in soul, which long after death, but it cometh not, and beg for it more than for hid treasures, which rejoice exceedingly and are glad when they can find the grave.
Right? What is Job speaking about here? Job was going through hell and literally catching hell because
What
Satan,
hell actually is, or what one of the versions of hell actually
which
is.
is suffering, right? As everybody likes to say, right? The elders, apostles going down, the men of GMS, hell is a condition, right? The things you currently go through on earth, Job was catching hell, right? Because what Satan was afflicting him and oppressing him, because what he had I bet to the Most High. Read Job chapter 1, read Job chapter 2, and you're going to get the backstory. But now, as a result of the things that Job was going through, he is now lamenting and saying he wished he had been dead, right? And he explained to you why, right? What happens after you die. Read Job 13, Job 3 and verse 13. Had I died at birth, I would now be at peace. I would be asleep and at rest, right? I would rest with the world's kings and prime ministers, whose great buildings now lie in ruins. I would rest with princes rich in gold, whose palaces were filled with silver. Why wasn't I buried like a stillborn child, like a baby who never lives to see the light? So what, they were never born, they died in their mother's. Right, verse 16 again. Why wasn't I buried like a stillborn child, like a baby who never lives to see the light? Right, so what, died in your mother's womb? For in death the wicked cause no trouble. Right? Again, is hell not a place that you are tormented supposedly after you die? Right? It has Satan.
So I just wanna chat GPT. What is hell like?
What if, according to the Christians, what is hell like?
I say Christians, it's Jehovah Witness pastor, right?
Yeah, you see.
Cool. According to Jehovah's Witnesses, what is hell like? Chapter. Yeah, because I'm okay.
Right. Just that first point right there.
Okay. According to Jehovah's Witnesses, hell is not a place of eternal torment. They believe that the Bible references to hell usually refer to the common grave of mankind, a state of unconsciousness after death.
Bullshit. They never believe that. That bullshit. But anyway, go ahead.
Here are the main points of their belief: the dead are unconscious. Bullshit. Hell often translates from the Hebrew word Sheol and the Greek word Hades as a grave.
They're stealing the thunder, man. They never
There is
believe
no
that.
torment. Many who have died will be resurrected. Some people will face permanent destruction instead of everlasting suffering. That is shit. Yeah. They interpret the second death mentioned in Revelation as complete and irreversible destruction, not conscious punishment.
Yeah, go ahead.
This view differs from the belief of many other Christian denominations, which traditionally teach that hell is a place of conscious punishment for the wicked. The last 2 points I just read is bullshit, because it had no part in the Bible say the Lord has permanently destroyed spirits, and the second death is not that.
Yeah, but they don't know what the second death is. The second death, if they didn't know, is the nuclear destruction. Right? That is where is that gonna happen? Babylon the Great, or the mystery Babylon, Revelation 17:5, which is America. Right? mentioned in Revelation as incomplete and irreversible to destruction, not conscious punishment, right? So apparently, right, Salakia must say, if this is true, according to ChatGPT, apparently the Jehovah's Witnesses don't believe in hell. At least they don't believe in the version of hell that is taught by the
Like
Christians,
Christians.
which is the eternal suffering you go through after you're dead. Right? So, Salakia, I'll hold my hand up. I didn't know that. I always thought that the Jehovah's Witnesses had the same beliefs of the Christians when it comes to hell.
No, you still have it wrong though.
They still have it wrong, obviously. They don't understand what the afterlife is like, evidently. Right? But just to establish the right on the point that you're not suffering after you die. When you watch Tom and Jerry and they could do the little skit where Tom go to hell
And Spike on him down with the pitchfork.
and he have horns coming out here and he has slaves whipping this one and whipping that one, according to Job chapter 3 and verse 17. For in death the wicked cause no trouble and the weary are at rest. Right? This is what happens and this is where you go after you die. You go and rest. Right? Verse 18. Even the captains are at ease in death with
Captives.
captives, Salakia Tawada. Even the captives are at ease in death with no guards to curse them. Rich and poor are both there, and the slave is free from his master. Oh, why give light to those in misery and life to those who are bitter? They long for death, and it won't come. They search for death more eagerly than for hidden treasure. They're filled with joy when they finally die, and rejoice when they find a grave. Why is life given to those with no future? Those power has surrounded with difficulties. You go and you rest. Job 13 and 17 again, for in death the wicked cause no trouble, and the weary are at rest. Job 3 verse 17 and 19. Where do you go when you die? Or are you going to heaven? Yes, you are, because there's no other place to go after you die as per the description of the scriptures. Right? So if you had nothing there, right, Lord willing, this lesson was edifying and that you were edified. In closing, I like to say,
Hallelujah, Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahushai, Ba'ashem Recha Kodash.
like to give double on his double unto the apostles and elders of Great Millstone who surely do rule well. And as always, we like to say shalom
Shalom
unto
to
the
the
elect. Right? Repent, for the kingdom of heaven is at hand.